Yo, what's going on? I got my buddy Rean on today. What's up, dude?
It's going great. It's going great. It's one of those chaotic days, but you always make them work.
Oh yeah? Busy with work and stuff, or what do you got going on?
Busy with work, and then it's also a good friend of mine's his birthday's today. So I was like, you know what? I'll sacrifice a day, get some new clothes, because you start to realize that when you don't go out as much, you don't get clothes or even go shop. So I just spent the day shopping, getting a haircut, all that good stuff.
Nice, cleaning it up, getting yourself ready. I love it, dude.
A little bit.
Self-care. All right. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you got going on? Where you at right now?
So right now I have two things going for me. So the thing that I've been doing for the longest is I'm a supervisor at this brand named Bonobos. The brand is just mainly focused on size and fit when it comes to clothes. I'm off on Greenwich Avenue nearby. And so that's been the biggest thing that I've been doing for the past almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. It's been nice. The company's been very nice to me. But then now the biggest thing that I'm on, that is a new venture that I've been striving to get to. It's gonna be real estate. Now I'm with Keller Williams now. It's I gotta say it was a challenge to get here. That test wasn't easy. The class wasn't easy, but I didn't really like easy. So it was just something that it's I had to go for. If if I've already put in so many hours into it, if I was gonna quit, I should have quit before I started. I was already so many hours in, so then now luckily I'm here. So it's just more about working with clients and using both of those avenues of which I'm on to bring them together.
Nice, dude. I love that. It's a pretty solid side hustle. So, would you say right now that real estate is kind of like your side hustle, or working at the store?
So real estate is my side hustle. Of course, the goal would be to flip that around, right?
Hmm.
But right now, real estate's my side hustle. It's just building that list of clients, that rapport, learning what to say, learning how to speak even at times, right? Just learning all the basics. That way I can eventually make that my main thing.
Nice, dude. So let me ask you, like, what brought you to real estate? What made you want to get into that?
So what brought me into it honestly was ever since I was young, I've always known I wanted to be my own boss. I've always wanted to be my own boss. So I always did different things, whether it was have a small website, have an e-commerce website, Amazon affiliation website, like just little things until I got to the point where I got into the stock market. And then from there, you know how the brain works. You're like, I'm buying and selling stocks. What else can I buy and sell? And somehow my brain got to houses, and I was like, what's a great way to get into it and learn the laws and learn how everything works is real estate. I'm a big guy when it comes to I'm okay with getting paid less so long as I'm learning something.
Mm.
And so it doesn't matter what position I'm in. You won't see me with a frown on my face so long as it's something that I'm learning. And so once I got into real estate, it was like, oh, this is huge, especially with Keller Williams. I'm like, yo, I get to learn, speak with new people, get to travel all around Connecticut, just trying to understand this. I'm in. I love it.
Yeah, dude. I love that, like forever student mindset of just like always looking to learn new stuff and things like that. So going from working in the store into real estate, you said it's been pretty tough along the way. So like, can you explain that? Is it like classes and stuff? Because I don't know much about real estate, if anything at all. I don't even know what kind of real estate you're looking to be into, and explain a little bit about that.
So for me, the biggest thing is I'm full time. I'm a supervisor there. So it's working 40 hours and then school. So it's like it's from 10 to 6 it's work. And then if it's a day where I have classes, I'm taking classes once I get home. And then most recently my biggest thing has been going to the gym. So it's like depending on how the hours work, it might just be 10 to 6 at work. By the time I'm home it's 6:30, I'm out to the gym by 7, and
Mm.
then I'm not back home because I train incredibly hard to like 11:30ish, 12 o'clock, and then I'm getting into my real estate stuff. So when I was studying for the test, I'm really studying, really sit down and study from 12 to 1.
Wow.
Maybe if it's a day off, I'll open up more time in the morning. Not maybe. If it's a day off, I'm opening up more time if it's in the morning to get that studying in, which now would be finally, learning and understanding real estate. But what took me so long was just all the things that I had to do. Because
Mm.
you'll start to realize that when you're well, I know when it comes to chasing your dreams, it can get super discouraging because you just have so many things in the way. Because you also want to chase them in a smart way. You can't just drop everything to go for what you want. You have to do it smart because if you don't do it smart, you won't be able to grab what you want. So it was just me working incredibly hard in everything else I was doing, and then making sure I opened up that time and time blocked real estate.
Let me
So
ask you
what took
real
me so long
quick.
was the studying.
So you
hmm
so you said trying to make sure that you get everything done that you need to in a smart manner. How do you prioritize what? How do you prioritize? Because you got a lot of different things going on at once, and there's a lot of things that you want to be going and doing. So how do you know which piece gets which amount of attention?
So it all comes down to when is that thing available first. So the first thing is when am I available to go? For
Mhm.
me, my gym isn't 24 hours, so it's only open from 4 a.m. to 11 o'clock, right?
Mhm.
So that lets me know that during that time is when I'm able to go to the gym. But then I have work. I'm at work from typically 9:30, 10 o'clock, all the way down to 6 if there's a customer in there and it gets late, 6:30.
Mhm.
So then I know that during that time is when I'm going to go at work. I've also noticed for myself that I get very groggy in the morning. Is that I have an attitude, but I'm not at my quickest in the morning. And so I've noticed that at night is when I'm on my quickest. So long as I have some coffee, I'm able to get work done. And I don't know, it could just be because I'm Dominican, but like I can drink coffee at 12 and by 1:30, 2 o'clock, I'm tired and I'm able to go to sleep. Like it's not like it keeps me awake all night. So it's more about understanding yourself and when you can, because some people might just be like, it's better if I just do it in the morning. Get
Mhm.
all the studying in the morning, set up the list for my clients in the morning, and then go to work and then go to the gym, or vice versa if you go to the gym in the morning. But for me, I realized that it's better if I do it at night. So I understood it about myself, understood what times I can, and then worked around from there.
Now, have you always been more of a night person, or has that just been something that you kind of just recently kind of figured out? Because me personally, I've pretty much always been a morning person between waking up for high school football lifts in the gym at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to like grad school when I was grinding hard. I was getting up at like 2:33 in the morning, and I would go pick my friends up from the bar, drop them off at home, and then I would do all my studying for grad school at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm the complete opposite of you. If I was in your shoes, I would probably be at the gym at 4 a.m. when they're opening up, just so I can get my workout in, then get to work and such like that. So, like, have you always been a night person, or?
Not always. For me, I feel like it didn't matter, but most recently is when I realized that in the morning, I've been kind of groggy and slower in the morning because back in high school when I had my website, but it was a motivational website.
Mhm.
I had that website. I used to do my recordings at 4 a.m. So one thing about me is that it didn't matter what time I went to sleep the night before because I also worked at a restaurant after school. So it was like I went to school from 2, probably went to the restaurant, worked there around 4. I didn't get back home till 11. I would go to sleep around 12. I woke up at 4, and I did that for a month straight, no problem. And I would just do my recordings in the morning. I would have energy for the whole day. I would be good. But most recently, I don't know. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I need a minute. I need to set an alarm to preset. So if it's like I gotta get up by let's just say if I have to get up by 8, I'll set up an alarm at 7:30 so I could just lay down in bed and then have the energy to get up.
Yeah, I love that. I do something very similar. I like wake up, and then that's when I go through, I write out my goals. I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. I do a little bit of Spanish practice, and then I play Wordle. And then I feel like Wordle is like the last step. Like, okay, now I'm really awake. Now I can
Like
get
now
out of
I'm
bed
ready.
and get
Yeah.
rolling. Yeah. So what are some things that you do to kind of keep focused? Because you got a lot of stuff going on 24/7. So how do you maintain the motivation to still hit the gym and make sure that you carve out the time for your studying?
So it all started back from my motivational website.
Oh,
I'm
by the
very
way, is that
big.
still up? Can I check that out sometime?
Honestly, I can check. I can check. It might be it was wavy motivations.com. I doubt it's still up. but possibly. Because I've always wanted to restart it. I just never knew when I was gonna restart it. But I'm big on whatever I preach, I need to do. I can't feed you BS. So if I'm telling you you have to do this, this, and this, why would I not be doing that? And so once this whole thing started and I started seeing everything, I was like, okay, I have to do it. And I'm also okay with reading so long as I'm learning something. My brain cannot read for fun. It needs to be for something. And so my biggest thing, it was this book called The One Thing. Yeah,
Mm,
this book called The One Thing. And it's all about just time blocking and how important it is. And so once I understood that, it helped me feel a little bit better to adjust to it. Because once you know that at this time you'll block out, I feel like it doesn't matter how much is going on in here. It calms down once you know at 4:30 I have to do this,
mm.
and then at 6:30 I have to do this. It's helped me out a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I definitely want to check out that book. It's called The One Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on my little list over here. But I love what you said there about like if you're gonna be preaching about it, you got to be doing it yourself too.
I have to.
In my coaching program, I recently started adding in a new exercise for a lot of my clients, and it's to push themselves to get a little uncomfortable. So nobody likes waking up earlier than they need to. So I set a challenge. So for from Tuesday to Friday, you got to wake up 15 minutes earlier than the previous day. So if you're normally waking up at 8,
Oh,
Tuesday you got to wake up at 7:45, Wednesday you got to wake up at 7:30, Thursday at 7:15, and then Friday you're waking up at 6 or 7 o'clock. So then you're up a full hour earlier than you need to. And then the
I
goal is
like
to
that.
try to maintain that extra hour so then you can start to kind of get things going. But it was in the same position, so I like to walk the walk before I talk the talk. So when all my clients that now they're waking up, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. So for a while there, I was getting up at 3 a.m. just to be up and get my day started. And it's tough. It's pretty tough.
Yeah,
So
no, but I like it though because it's one thing about the human brain. If you just tell them wake up an hour before, the challenge gets difficult. But it's like just do 15 minutes prior. It's
yeah,
like you know what, I can do 15 minutes, and I already did 15 minutes today. So today it's easier for me to do another 15 minutes. So I like what you did there. It's not making the challenge so big, but making the end goal big, and then just the stepping stones there a lot smaller.
yeah, man, yeah. So where are you at currently in your studies? Are you all the way finished with the studying, or like where are you at with that?
When it comes to real estate,
Yeah,
so I'm officially a real estate agent. So I
congrats.
became a real estate agent. Thank you. About a month ago. It was
Nice.
it was tough. It was tough. So being completely honest about that, because of all the things I had going on, it took me about 7 tries to pass the
That's what they say, man. Seventh time is a charm.
test. So it was hilarious. So one of the biggest things for me is that I'm religious. So I'm Christian. And funny enough, the 6 times I took it, I studied incredibly hard, like hours upon hours into studying. Every time would fall by one question, two questions, three questions, one, two. It was
Uh,
annoying. It was the most annoying thing ever. And then the last week, I got lucky and I was able to schedule exactly a week ahead. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna study. I'm just gonna meditate. I'm just gonna meditate and pray, and then we'll leave it at that. I passed. But here's the funny part: the test, when you pass it, doesn't tell you about how much you pass it by. But when
ah,
you fail it, it tells you exactly about how much you fail it by. So it's like I passed it, but low key, because of how many times I failed it, I want to know by how much. Was it by like just even 70 points? I'm pretty sure 70 or 75, 70 points. Or was it by one? Like, I just want to know about how much it was because it just took me so long. It would have
yeah,
been nice to know about how much.
yeah, that would have been pretty sweet. So talk to me about your meditation and mindfulness stuff. Do you have your own practice? Do you use like a one of the mobile apps, or what do you do for that?
So for me, meditation, I just kind of do it myself. So whether it's in my room and whether it's in prayer or I do the whole crisscross applesauce, sit down on the floor. But I'll do one of two things. So when I first started off, I used to listen to meditation music just to relax my brain.
Mhm.
But I want to be able to meditate in any state. So not too long ago, I just stopped doing that. I meditate just with no music, which is difficult to do when you live in a Dominican household because everybody in here speaks very loud. But it's helped build that strength because now I'm able to really close in and be in my own bubble while I'm meditating, no matter the noise that's going on behind me.
Mm. Yeah, that's impressive, man. I used to do the very similar. I use the app called Headspace, and
Yes.
it's guided, and I really like that. I used to do the whole thing where I would sit on the floor, very peaceful, quiet, and then I got really into it, and I got up to like 180 something days in a row, and I was feeling really good. But it was wildly inconvenient every day having to carve out like 15, 20 minutes to just sit down, especially living such an active lifestyle. So I needed to start being able to kind of walk and move and do other things, but kind of be like mindful about it. So now what I'm trying to do is I try to squeeze it in while I'm walking, and it's not quite the same, but I'm still,
Mm.
it's good, and I still have it playing in the background while I'm on my walks, just so in case if my thoughts do kind of skew off a little bit, it helps like recenter me and bring me back to like, okay, why am I doing this? I want to make sure that I'm clearing my thoughts. I want to spend this time really for myself. Um, so yeah, I totally see how the evolution of just being mindful too. Some people, when they first start off, they think it's got to be like this. They think there's got to be so much structure to it. It's everybody's unique. So mindfulness to you can be different from me, from somebody else too. So I love that
No,
you brought that up.
100%. 100%. I get exactly where you're coming from because it's like even just to do anything, you need to have a clear mind because if not, you won't be able to focus. Because I used to have terrible memory. Oh, you could tell me something right now, and 10 minutes later, I'll forget about it. But I realized it's just because it was harder for me to pay attention. And the reason it was harder for me to pay attention was because I just had so many things going on in my head. So once I started meditating again, that all calmed down. And now I know that if I need to remember something, so long as I remind myself to remember it, it'll stick in here.
Yeah, man. I feel the same way. When I was really into it, now I'm not as consistent with my mindfulness, but I'm still up there. But when I was really consistent, I'm talking about that 180 days, dude, I was the same way. Crystal clear memory. I could remember anything and everything. Like I just felt like I was optimized. And the crazy thing
Yep.
is too, I don't really know, like I'm not super woo woo into everything, but I do feel when I am consistent with my meditation and mindfulness, I feel like everything just starts going well for me. Like I just have random people showing up out of nowhere asking me if I'm taking on coaching clients still. And like just like all the green lights pop up for me when I'm driving kind of thing. And then I notice when I kind of fall off on things, I don't know if it's just like the placebo effect or what, but then I feel like I start tripping up a little bit in life. Do you ever feel like things like that kind of happen?
Yeah, for sure. But it also has to do with I don't know if you've heard of it, but the law of attraction.
Yeah, yeah.
Being on that frequency definitely is is what knocks it out of place. Because when you're on that frequency and everything goes well, things just start to come. You don't even force it anymore. It just appears.
Yeah.
But then once you knock yourself off of that frequency, that's when things start to fall off, which is actually what I used to talk about on my website. On my motivational website, it was named Wavy Motivations was because it was understanding being on that correct wavelength.
I get it. Now I see the name. Clever, dude. That's pretty good. Yeah, man, you got to bring that website back if it's not up.
I have to, and I've been dying to do it, and you might have just been the guy to get me started on it again.
Good, good. I'm glad. It'll be pretty sweet to see some of that. So besides the store, besides real estate, what else you got going on? You got anything else big you're working on right now at the moment? Any big clients, houses, or anything?
So right now, because I started, what I'm mainly trying to do is to have my two worlds collide.
Hmm.
Have those real estate clients be like enter into my retail world when it comes to clothes, and have my retail clients come into my real estate world. Just so I can have a seamless effect. And no matter what time it is, I'm able to knock that part like that side job and make them both my full-time job. So it's
Mm.
about finding that balance and understanding that.
So how do you bring those two worlds together?
So the beauty about it is the goal for me is I work on Greenwich Avenue.
Hmm.
That alone, the clients that I'm meeting in there, they have heavy pockets. They have deep pockets. And so it's understanding who are the people in front of me. I don't know if Mr. uh Jake is gonna come in and he's also having an idea in his head to possibly get a home pretty soon. And he's just probably on realestate.com looking, but he just doesn't really know when he'll pull the trigger on it. But if I'm able to bring up that conversation smoothly, not pushing it, but smoothly, like, oh, hey, yeah, like while we're having regular conversation, oh, that's nice. Wait, you're actually thinking of getting new homes? Oh, well, I just want to let you know that I'm also a real estate agent. So you could always just email me at this email, and we can talk more about it and see if it's something that you really want to go with. For me, my biggest thing is making seamless conversation without being pushy. That's brought me my biggest success at my job at Bonobos. It's just
Mm.
the only time where I get good clients that buy a lot, it's when it's seamless. Nobody wants to feel like they're being sold to. You know you don't want you like when you feel like you're being forced to buy, you won't spend a dollar. But when you feel like you're at home, you just start dropping everything you have because you feel like you're in a spot where you're comfortable enough to be able to do so. And that's the kind of environment I want to build for any client I have, period, just till the end of time.
Yeah, and that goes right to the whole relationships. Like you're not putting service first, so helping the individual, really getting to know them kind of on a deeper level. Because people can tell when you're being salesy and you're just trying to make a sale. People can definitely feel that in the energy and just around you, the way you carry yourself and everything like that. So how do you build up those skills of deepening the relationship with your clients? Because you probably don't see these people 24/7, right? When they're coming in, you always see them
So how it
occasionally.
works is the beauty of Bonobos, everything's digital. So they even supply you with a computer.
Mm.
So your biggest job is following up. Same thing as real estate. Your biggest job is following up. And so, how you continue to build that relationship is not necessarily checking in if they want to buy something, but just checking in with them consistent. Like, hey, I'm here for you. Let me know if you need something. Remember key details. Oh, your dog Max that you brought in. I would love if you send me pictures of him. I would love if you send me pictures of that outfit that we built for you for that wedding. Like, it's just remembering small key details to then bring them back into your outreach to continuing to strengthen that relationship. Everybody wants to feel at home, and how do you make them feel at home? Only the people that you live with are the only ones that know small details about you. And so it's our job, or at least for me, my job, to keep those small details written down somewhere. That way I can continue to build that relationship and that warm feeling.
Mm. Yeah, man, that's pretty powerful stuff. That the relationship development skills. It's pretty crazy. So let's shift it over to the fitness world, man. What have you been doing in the gym lately?
Ooh, so funny enough, I've been on and off on the gym, but this most recent time where I've been going for 7, almost 8 months now, it's just been it's been great. I gotta say. So for me, I have a weird split. Not many people have this split. So I'll tell you what the split is. We'll start off
Okay,
there.
let's hear it.
It's Monday, Thursday is chest, shoulders, buys, tries. So fully upper body.
Hmm.
Tuesday, Fridays, so today, would be just straight legs. Everything to do with legs. And then Wednesdays is back in core. So the reason
Hmm.
why I only leave it for Wednesdays is because throughout the weekend I'm consistently doing pull-ups. And I should be doing core more, but at times you just feel out of it by the end of your workout. So sometimes I just leave it for Wednesday. But the idea there is for me it's all about strength and physique. Like it's just I want to be as strong as possible but also have a good physique because I'm very skinny. But in this past like 8 months that I've been working out, I went from weighing 125 pounds to 152 pounds.
Wow, there you go.
And I've always been low body fat. So I'm
There
like,
you
hey, I'm
go.
doing something right. And it's
Yeah,
it's the eating as well.
yeah, man. What works for you is the best program for you. So, sounds like what you got going on is pretty good. So you got these. So you're in the gym, you're grinding, you're building up on that. You're constantly learning with your classes and things like that. What are some other and a little bit of books? Tell me a little bit else, some other things that you might be consuming, like quality wise, like different shows, books, podcasts? What do you got?
So for me, I like to take time out and which I haven't done in the past 2 weeks because I've been very busy. But I like to take time out, go on YouTube and just watch very intelligent people. Jordan B. Peterson, I even have in this book. It's a few people that I've watched. Andrew Herberman is it's a big guy that I've been watching a lot just to understand dopamine. And actually watching him has helped me out so much because the biggest reason to look for him was to understand dopamine
Hmm.
and how I can use that to my advantage. And that's also one of the reasons why I've been able to focus so much, understanding how that works and being able to push forward.
What's your
But
biggest
my
thing from
big
him on the dopamine right that you've gotten so far?
so my biggest thing from him honestly is that when you're high in dopamine, you're able to focus. And that's what allows you to just sit down and just get through it. But then also the more dopamine you expel, the longer it will take to come back up. So let's just say this is your base level, and let's just say you're doing something you like going to the gym, and so when you go to the gym, your base level jumps up here. But then once you come back down, you crash, come back down, you won't go down to your base level. You come down here, which is why you'll catch some people that they'll go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but they just can't find themselves to go to the gym until next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Because some people it might take them a little bit longer, but they need to get back to this base level to have enough energy to come back up here. So the reason why it was so important is because it helps me understand and be mindful of how much dopamine I'm expelling. So be careful how often I go out. Be careful how much energy drinks I drink. Because if I want to keep going to the gym, I can't just keep just chugging up all these energy drinks and all these things to give me boost because then I'll drop too low and then I really won't be able to go to the gym.
Mm.
So that's my biggest thing is understanding this part right here. That way, if I do fall below it, it's very minimal. And then I'm able to kind of get back up quicker and then get back
Interesting.
to where I want to be.
So, so what you're saying is almost don't let it spike. You want it to just go a little bit above your baseline, so you have a quicker recovery time.
You could let it spike, but be careful as to how often you're letting it happen because then
Hmm.
also what'll happen is your baseline can tend to drop. So if this is your baseline and you're consistently like this, your baseline might drop a little bit lower in the red. So you might get back to a regular level where you just feel unmotivated. People with depression might often be down here or stuff like that. So it makes it harder for them to get out of it. So it's okay to let it spike, but be mindful. Let's just say if it's you have a strong week of work ahead of you. Don't go to the club on Saturday because then this will happen. And then
Hmm.
when you're back at work on Monday and it's a job that you need a lot of energy to do, it's going to be a lot like challenges to do the basic things you do on a daily basis might be a lot more difficult.
Now, how do you think the, I guess, I don't know if it's like a skill or an attribute, but being able to express delayed gratification kind of plays into that. You ever hear about that study, the marshmallow study?
I haven't heard about, oh, you mean the kids, how they let
Yeah.
them with the kids, let them be, and then they gave them more.
And
I
they're like,
love
yeah,
delayed,
if you pause, if you don't eat this marshmallow, if you wait like 5 minutes, we'll give you two
we'll give you
marshmallows
two.
later. And like some of the kids would eat it quickly, and I guess that would probably spike it. And then I don't know, like, do you think it plays any kind of factor in any of
I
this
could
stuff?
be wrong, but I do believe it plays a factor into it because if you have a base, it's just looking at it for basic life. For me, it would be real estate. Let's just say I have a weekend where I just go straight work. I don't
Hmm.
go out. I don't have huge spikes. I delay it to at least 2 more weeks from now on because I understand there's a client on Wednesday I need to meet that's going to ask a lot of me. I might need to take this client out for dinner. I might need to spend more time with this client, whatever the case may be, just to build that stronger rapport while waiting and I'm not having any spikes, I'm going to be able to do and catch on to key cues because I'm going to be at a base level a lot better than the Rean that went on parties the whole weekend.
Mm.
And now he's down here and now to just have regular conversation with this really big time client. I have to really force myself to get here, but the client might sometimes even need this. So the climb from here to here is going to be a lot more difficult than just from here to here.
Hmm.
So it's
Uh,
actually something that I did before, sorry,
go
before
ahead.
I took the test, where that last week, on top of meditating and stuff, which helped my base level stay here and even go a little bit higher, I didn't go out that weekend. I didn't do anything just so I could make sure that once that test came in, I was just sharp mind focused and able to pass that test.
Nice. And I know you're not an expert on the matter, but do you know if there's any ways that you can possibly slow down the descent of it once you so we spike it and then it drops back down and then you're going below that baseline like you were saying. Do you know of any ways of maybe slowing that drop and then same thing on speeding up the recovery by any chance?
So let's see if I remember correctly. So one of the biggest thing was cold water therapy. So
Hmm.
actually, even when you take a cold shower, the reason why people feel so good and it's so good for so long is because you increase the dopamine levels by a lot. You spike it, but then also cold water doesn't crash you. It gradually goes back down. It could take up to 3, 4 hours. So sometimes, let's just say if it's the morning and you have to go to the gym, but you just don't feel like, just take a cold water shower. It could be for only 3 minutes, and then that'll allow you to spike it, go to the gym, and have a gradual, decrease down, and then you'll still have the energy to do whatever you have to do for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I
That's
did
one
see that.
thing. That's one thing. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he mentioned coffee. Coffee also gives you a spike, but I'm pretty sure it's just regular coffee, not coffee with a whole bunch of sugar. But like just regular coffee allows you to go up and slowly brings you back down.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I definitely did see that. Uh, I wonder do you know what it is about the cold water that does that? Do you know the reason for that? I know I'm throwing all these like like questions.
No, no, I know I wrote it down in here somewhere, but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember too well as to why specifically. Why does cold water bring you down so slow? He didn't go into it that well. That's what it was.
Mm,
He spoke about it, but he didn't really go into it, which is another thing that I was going to go into because I wanted to understand that too. Because understanding that science can help you out a lot. Let's just say you
hmm.
have a really task heavy day, but you're able to go home at least twice a day. You can cold water shower in the morning. Once that's done, go back home, cold water shower, have enough energy to continue it on.
Now, so I'm thinking because scrolling and swiping through on like social media definitely spikes that up, right?
Correct.
Now,
So
is
that's one
could
of the
you? Oh, go ahead.
so that's one of the reasons that I think I'm going to answer what you were gonna the question you were gonna ask. So that's one of the reasons why people their attention span is so small because
Hmm.
they're consistently used to dopamine hits every few seconds. TikTok clips are typically like what 30 seconds. So it's like you're getting one dopamine hit, then you're scrolling to the next, another dopamine hit, scroll to the next, another dopamine hit, which messes up your long-term gratifications, which is why it's going to be harder for people in the future to be CEOs and stuff like that because they're just so used to getting things right away, which does
Hmm.
mess up your dopamine levels.
Now, do you know of any particular scenarios or instances where that could actually be beneficial? Like scrolling that, getting that quick, repetitive hits of dopamine. Do you think there's
So
any
if I'm not
basis for that?
mistaken, it's good for the marketer,
Oh yeah,
because if you're marketing and you understand that, all you have to really do is just create a very rich, fun video for 30 seconds and maybe post them 5 times throughout the day. And then at least when they're getting hit through it, it's just like one, boom, boom, and then it's closed about socks. It's an ad about socks. You ignore it, but you're going through it. Now it's another fun ad about socks, and you just don't even realize it was from the same person you saw a few minutes ago. So that's definitely a way to play into it because if you're trying to market yourself in a certain way, using that to your advantage can definitely increase that boost. But other than that, when it comes to a person trying to build something, I could be wrong, but it's going to be harder for you to build it because anything worth building takes time.
hmm,
So it's like not being used to have to wait for your things will make anything difficult.
yeah, yeah, man. Definitely see that. Now, what about the? So I'm guessing the being able to be your own boss and helping people buy and sell houses. I'm guessing those are all different things that kind of help you spike your dopamine levels, right?
Correct, correct. So I've always been big on when I was little. I'm not very materialistic. I don't really care too much about clothes, jewelry, stuff like that. But I have one big problem. I like cars. And it's not like I like a used Civic Si. I like McLarens. I like expensive cars, GT 500s. And so as a kid, I always knew that that's what I wanted. I just never knew how I was going to get it. And so that's the delayed part. I know that at some point I want to be able to get one of these cars. And so what helps spike it is understanding that I'm getting one step closer.
Mm,
One client is one step closer. The next client, it's another step closer. Working, I'm 21 and making decent money where I'm at takes me another step closer. So it's like it all does help out with that dopamine spike because it's I have this long-term goal, but instead of just not feeling nothing until I get there, I make those small steps mean something to me until I get there.
mm. Yeah, man, that's pretty good stuff. That's just awesome, and that really goes back to really how important it is just being crystal clear on what you want. I know so many people, even myself, like I was had no idea what I actually wanted to do for such a long time, and I was just kind of doing a bunch of different things and just kind of getting caught up in my coaching business, and that's how I was so quick to just getting burnt out because I had one focus and it was just making more money. And in my world, it was endless clients, so you can just continue going and essentially just burnt myself out. And I was just working person after person after person. But there is actually a limit to how much you do based off of how many hours in the day. And that's what kind
Mm-hmm.
of buried me. So how are you preventing from the burnout again? So like
The
is it just the
burnout,
keeping the focus of the future, or because yeah, man, you got a lot of stuff going on. I don't understand how you keeping yourself energized and up, but how do you keep yourself mentally clear and focused? Is it the meditation?
the meditation, and I know you know this as well. Sometimes, even while you're burnt out, you just have to do it. There's definitely going to be times you're going to be burnt out. It's bound to happen. But I forget who said it. I was watching a podcast. It had Mr. Beast in it, and he said, "You're going to be burnt out, but what you have to do is during that time where you're burnt out, is do something you love, whether it's playing video games, uh, watching a show, like binge the show that you like to watch. Like it's okay to be burnt out. Just make sure you're doing something that you love doing during that time to help get back here a lot faster than just being upset that you're not here. Because then sometimes what will happen is if you're operating down here and you're still doing your work, you won't do it as good as you're doing here. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe if you just start doing stuff you do like, this will start to happen and then you'll get here a lot sooner and then work at your base level.
So maybe that's a specific time where scrolling or something getting that quick hits of those dopamine can kind of
Can't help
recharge
you.
you.
Look at that. You help make that connection.
Look at that. Crazy. Oh man. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming on and sharing a lot of stuff here. How can people I want to be courteous of your time. I know it's getting a little close here, but how can people continue to stay connected with you? You on all bunch of different social media channels, or like should people reach out to you specifically
so
for
my
real
main
estate and
place,
social media?
so my main place would be Instagram. It's gonna be Rean, Rean is at KW, so common spelling. And then from there, of course, you'll be able to access all my Instagram stuff and real estate stuff, as well as if you just need to get some clothes, just you can reach out to me through there. Now, I'll be able to help you out. My inbox is always open, and I'm down to answer any questions anybody may have.
Cool. And that's pretty much anything, whether it's dopamine, working out, real estate, clothes, pretty much everything. Now,
Everything, if I know it, I'll let you know about
you're not
it.
afraid of being labeled as what is it, jack of all trades, master of none.
Oh, of course, you can't be afraid of that, right?
So, as we kind of wrap up here, man, you got any last words of wisdom you want to share?
So for me, my last word of wisdom would be if you have something that's bigger than you, use that to your advantage. Whether that might be religion, whether that might be a family member, a friend, a loved one, a goal, use that as your base staple because then it'll give you a reason to want to do this. Because if even if you're operating down here, you understand it, being sad won't help you. But at least if you have a reason to not be sad, it'll help. It'll do you so much in the long run.
help angle that back up and move back towards baseline and above baseline is what you're saying?
Correct. Because it's just you need a reason to. You might understand that you need to do it, but if I'm being completely honest, the only reason why I haven't gotten burnt out yet is because I have God to thank. So it's like if you're gonna give me these opportunities, I have to get back to my baseline and I have to shoot for whatever it is you need me to do. And I know that if anybody else has that mindset, you will get to that point a lot faster.
Oh, I love it, dude. Rean, man, I appreciate it so much, and we had a couple little tangents here, but I really loved it, and dude, I would totally be happy to have you back if you're down for it
Oh,
down
for
in the
sure.
future.
For sure.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Again, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. I'll talk to
All
you
right,
later,
I'll catch
soon.
you later. Have a good one, all right?